Hello, my name is Jeffrey Fitch, and my project is on the American Dream Divided. I'm going to start with a quote. "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore." Inscribed on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty is this poem. And for generations, America has been seen as the land of opportunity, the land of the free. And one of those things that most people aspire for when they come to America is the chance at economic opportunity that they never had in their other country. You hear about these stories of people coming from other countries over here and creating businesses, making lots of money. But the fact is, America now is more unequal than at any other point in time in its own history. And it is actually almost as unequal as some other fabulous places across this world, such as Iran and Uganda. So that should say something about what's happening in the country right now. We want to believe as Americans that there is this tendency for those who work hard to rise. And it's called meritocracy. The problem is with meritocracy is that it's actually not a real thing anymore so much as an idea. And one would like to believe that with meritocracy, people who tend to be on the lower economic side wouldn't believe in it as much because they get to see the effects of the large income gap between the 1% and the other 99%. But the fact is that meritocracy is as strong as ever on the very bottom end of the social economic scale. And in a way that explains a lot of what's happening in America right now. And what we have seen is that since the Great Depression, we had this liberalization of money. And what happened was that we took a lot of the income, not a lot, but we taxed the mega rich at a higher rate. And so this led businesses and corporations and individuals to go ahead and put that money back into the economy. Invest in their businesses. What's happened since then in the 80s was the idea of trickle-down economics. And what we find is that since the advent of trickle-down economics, the gap in the United States from the wealthiest 1% to the other 99% has increased. In fact, over the last 40 years, the wealth of the income of the wealthiest has tripled in actual spending power, while the income of the 99% has remained pretty much stagnant. And this is especially true since the Great Recession in 2008, where we see that 95% of income gains have occurred to the top 1%, whereas 5% has only gone to the bottom 99%. And this keeps happening, and we keep getting told that, well, if you keep feeding the wealthy more money, then the wealthy will go ahead and they will start trickling down that. But what ends up happening is that you get this problem, and it affects people of different ethnicities harder. Hispanics and African Americans tend to be on the lower economic side of this. And so we see that during 2008, whereas when the housing market crashed, we saw that banks were giving out these loans to people who couldn't afford it. And what was coming out was that the average income, the average wealth of a black homeowner was only about $5,500, as opposed to the average income of a white family, which was about 20 times greater. So a white family was far more likely to stay in their home than the black family. And this keeps happening. And with this, I wanted to read a passage from the book that I read for this project. And the passage says, there are two visions for America half century from now. One is of a society more divided between the haves and the have-nots. A country in which the rich live in gated communities, send their children to expensive schools, and have access to first-rate medical care. Meanwhile, the rest live in a world marked by insecurity, at best mediocre education, and affected rationed health care. They hope and pray they don't get seriously sick. At the bottom are millions of young people alienated and without hope. I've seen that picture in many developing countries. Economists have given it a name, a dual economy. Two societies living side by side, but hardly knowing each other, hardly imagining what life is like for the other. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And it is harder for a lot of minorities because they have not been given the chance that all white people have. Essentially, minorities are considered lower, and so the opportunities that they have don't exist as much for them as it does for white people. And that includes education, healthcare, and economic chances. There's been a lot of studies showing that in economically poor areas, typically urban areas with a high minority rate, we have increased crime, increased murder, increased violence. And what we find is that when we offer jobs and education in those areas, there is a statistical decrease. And I think that best encapsulates the point of the economic divide in America right now, is that the dream, the American dream, is not realized by everyone and will not be realized by everyone until we're able to equalize wealth again by liberalization of money. And when we stop dividing the country on both socioeconomic and racial lines. Thank you.